Are we good? Check, check, check. Am I good there? Oh, okay. All right, good morning. Go ahead and find your seats if you would. We'll get started. I know it's a snowy, slick-roaded morning, but I got yelled at last time I went over, so I want to make sure I start with plenty of time to get everything done. And all right, well, if you would, take a look at actually go ahead and turn there. So Psalm 139. I pulled our scripture memory from it. I kind of pieced it together. Maybe this is not kosher. I don't know if you're supposed to do this or not, but I pieced our scripture memory together from two different verses in Psalm 139. But we are going to look at the entire psalm very quickly, and we're going to begin with that. But I pull our scripture from verses 13 and verse 16. This is the psalm where he says, I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. And then he says in verse 16, and this is huge, he says, in your book were written, every one of them, the days that were formed for me, when as yet there was none of them. Okay, in God's tome in heaven, in his book in heaven, every single day of your life was written down before you ever lived one of them. Okay, let's look at that in context and just kind of get your mind start thinking through that. So Psalm 139, let's look at it together. This is David. O Lord, you have searched me and known me. You know when I sit down and when I rise up. You discern my thoughts from afar. You search out my path and my lying down and are acquainted with all my ways. Even before a word is on my tongue, behold, O Lord, you know it altogether. You hem me in behind and before and lay your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It's high, I cannot attain it. Where shall I go from your spirit? Or where shall I flee from your presence? If I ascend to heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in Sheol, you are there. If I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there your hand shall lead me, and your right hand shall hold me. If I say, surely the darkness will cover me, and the light about me be night, even the darkness is not dark to you. The night is as bright as the day, for darkness is as light with you. Why? Why all of this? Why? He roots it in verses 13 through 16. I want you to see this. For you formed my inward parts. You knitted me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works. My soul knows it very well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was being made in secret, intricately woven in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed substance. In your book were written, every one of them, the days that were formed for me, when as yet there was none of them. How precious to me are your thoughts, O God. How vast is the sum of them. If I would count them, they are more than the sand. I awake and I am still with you. Now, we're going to skip the imprecatory part. I don't usually recommend this, but, maybe you've got enemies that you want to pray against and that God would slay them, but, that can happen. I'm just saying. Okay, now move to 23. Search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me and know my thoughts. And see if there be any grievous way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. I want you to notice the beginning and the end has these bookends of you know me, now know me. Okay, so verse 1, you have searched me and known me. It's already past tense. Before you were ever lived a day, he knew you. You were a conception in his mind. You were birthed in his mind well before you were born on this earth. So he's saying he knows you. But then at the very last, he says, Lord, search me and know my heart. So there's these bookends of him knowing you. And he roots all of that, the entire psalm, in verses 13 through 16, which is he has knit you together. He's woven you together. He has created you in secret in the deep parts of the earth. In other words, in the womb, he was knitting you together. He was forming you like clay. He breathed the breath of life into you. He knows you more intimately than you can ever even know yourself. There's all this language of like hemming and sewing and knitting and weaving. He is, that's a labor of love. Ever get like an Afghan from your grandma, and she put hours and hours and hours into it, and you know that she'd used more than yarn. She wove love into that thing, and it makes it all the more special. Or like a quilt, that they sewed that. It takes